Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm going to talk about something I've talked about in the past, but I just get a lot of emails on this one. So let's go at it again. And that is about questions, asking questions. Again, it's not what you sell, it's how you sell. Let me say it again. In today's market, products have reached a level of parity. By that I mean they almost all look the same. Even if you came up with a differentiator, somebody will copy it tomorrow. Services almost look all the same. So it isn't what you sell anymore, it is how you sell. It is how you sell. And if you want to position your value differentiator, which in many cases, it's going to be you, the salesperson, or the people on your team at your company, you are now becoming the new differentiator. All products being equal, you, the salesperson, you, the team behind the company, you are now the actual value differentiator. And one way to pull customers in close, to get them away from pricing so they're not focused on price, is to really understand what they're going through. But in order to do that, you got to find a way to ask good, qualified questions. Now, there's a fine line here. There's a fine line between interrogating a client and having them share valuable information. Let me say it again. There's interrogating a customer and there's allowing them to share their concerns. Average salespeople interrogate. Superior salespeople know how to draw that information out of a client and make it feel like a natural flow. Now, what's the difference? When you interrogate somebody, you're basically going through a list of questions. What about this? What about that? How do you do this? What do you do about that? What do you do this? Now, much of this homework should have been done before you walked into the customer's office. Let me say that again. Much of this homework should have been done before you stepped into that room with the customer to have that meeting. How? One, you could have researched it online. Two, maybe you could have sent either a questionnaire or asked them general questions up front. So when you get to the meeting, you already know where the starting point's at, and you don't have to start from the beginning. Too often we wait till we get there. We go through the website, review it very quickly, and then we get there, and then we're asking the customer all these questions. And what do you think the customer's doing? Getting irritated. Can you imagine for a moment? Imagine for a moment you're that person. You're the customer. A salesperson comes in, and they want to ask you 50 questions. Now, keep in mind, you're probably one of 5 people or one of 5 salespeople that this poor individual has to see that day. If everybody comes in with 50 questions, that's a lot of questions to answer, 250 questions to be exact. And what do you think the person feels like when they keep answering the same questions? And they're thinking, you should know this, you're the expert. Because if you're walking in and you don't have any ideas, solutions, or concepts, or maybe ways of elevating their thinking, then you're not positioning yourself as an expert, and it will always be about price. So that's the average salesperson. Now, the qualified salesperson studies the business. Listen to what I just said. Studies the business. They study their product, their own features, their own benefits. They got that. But then they tie those features and benefits to how it will help this customer either increase revenue, reduce costs, or expand market share. As I always said, the value trinity. If you can help them do that, and you can show them how your product can do that, then they're willing to listen. If you can tell them what's changing in the market, you have some insight because you've taken the time to do the research, and you can share that insight with them. And how do you know you have insight? When the customer goes, I didn't know that. Never thought about it that way. Well, that's an interesting perspective. I never looked at it. That's when you know you're delivering insight. You deliver insight with an understanding of their business, and they're ready to listen to you when you present your solution. And again, if you're unsure, ask those deep, open-ended questions. You know how to ask them, right? Mr. Customer, help me understand a little more of why you made that decision, because I want to be in a position to make sure that my recommendation lines up with what you need. Okay, see, that's a real nice open-ended question. Mr. Customer, walk me through your thought process. Talk to me about ... Or tell me more about that right there because I'm curious as to why you're doing it that way. Now, this allows the conversation to open up a little more because you're going beyond the standard checklist. You're asking them because you really want to understand their business. You want to get in their business so you can help them with their business. Let me say that again. You want to get in their business so you can help them with their business. If you come from a core, if in your core you're all about helping, which you should be, then you will sell more effectively. Because the goal is not to close the deal. I mean, it is the ultimate goal. But first, it's to try to understand, can I help this customer? Does my product or service really line up with what they're trying to do? And if you come from that core where you're genuinely trying to understand their business, you understand the market and you understand how your product can serve them, this becomes a better presentation for you and it'll feel more natural. Here's a small tip. If you want to drag more information out of a customer, one study showed that when a customer stops talking, that if you simply say nothing and just nod your head up and down, almost like an agreement, that gives the client permission to keep talking. And in many cases, you'll get 25% more information just with that little strategy. All this is to say the following. If you go in there to ask questions, just to ask questions and go off a checklist, you'll never position yourself as an expert. But if you can visually draw this diagram, this Venn diagram in your head, if you understand the market, if you understand their business, and you overlap that with where your product and service fits, then you're selling. You're selling in the sweet spot where all those three overlap. Where those three things overlap, that is the sweet spot of selling. There is no shortcut. So don't go in there ready to ask a lot of questions. Go in there in an exploratory manner. In other words, you're coming in already with information, and because you're giving them information from the beginning, note what I just said. I am walking in with information, with insight. I am giving them that first. Because when I can give a customer insight, the rule of reciprocation kicks in. If I deliver information to you, insight that you didn't have, you are more likely to want to reciprocate and maybe tell me what's going on your side of the business. See, that's how it works. But if you go in there just asking, they're less likely to give. But you go in there giving content, market analysis, market insight, stuff that's happening in their business, and they understand the value of that, then they're going to give you more information than you ever expected. And all that's going to do is help you close the deal that much faster. And that is it for the Sales Influence Podcast. Don't forget to leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube. Let me know what you think. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, check out my online sales training platform, the Sales Mastery Academy. We have changed the price structure on this baby that now anybody can afford to get on the platform. My goal is to get you on the platform so you can learn to sell and make money by helping others. So if you're serious about increasing your sales ability, go to salesmastery.academy.us. That's salesmasteryacademy.us. Lastly, I want to thank you for listening. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care. Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.